Men, what kind of low-grade sexual harassment do you face on a daily basis? Worked in bars and would constantly be grouped by older women who thought it was funny. Also, as a Scottish piper, kilt lifting is a thing and honestly, it needs to stop. Grow up. My bulge was a topic of open discussion between some of the women in the office at a previous job. The kicker is that one of the women was our HR and sexual assault/harassment reporter. The HR woman at my old job was caught with candid photos of guys' asses on her phone. Human resources. Same thing happened to me. We got new uniforms at work and a female coworker told me that my pants were tight, which I thought was just a genuine remark and was like, huh, really? I guess I'll look again, because this is my normal size. Maybe they're cut too slim. Thanks. She said, yes. You already had a big bulge and now I feel like it's actually in my face. She was smiling and laughing about it like that was a normal thing to say. I was immediately embarrassed, and turned around. We were working together, so I couldn't leave right away, and that was the most I could do, and upon doing so, she again hit me with "and you have a pretty big ass for a white boy too." Again laughing, so then I was uncomfortable standing that way as well and basically just turned to the side. The only thing I said to it was yeah, I guess I'll get a bigger size, and we stood in awkward silence. Anytime I tell that story to other women they think it's hilarious, when I spin it around like, well, it's not really funny. What if that was some dude at work and he was talking about how tight your shirt was? And only then is it less funny. Added a little more context because I'm getting a disturbing amount of, she was just flirting. Ever thought she might like you? Just tell her no. Comments. She was well over twice my age, and a tenured employee with a lot of connections to management, and I had just started, comparatively. There was not going to be any sort of relationship, nor did we have a flirtatious dynamic at all, and I believe she said those things, simply because she knew she could get away with it, given her tenure over me, knowing I would be reluctant to make complaints that early on. Given our age gap, I highly doubt she thought it would actually lead anywhere. She just thought she could say that, because of the power she held over me as a new employee. End of story. Which is also why it was difficult to make a big confrontation over it, and I just let it slide. Finally, to the "well, you shouldn't have your pants that tight" comments. They really weren't tight, as I said they were my normal size. I asked other people purposefully following that, and everyone said they looked fine. It wasn't actually about the pants. Yeah, that's not low-key sexual harassment, that's blatant. Not sure why someone would think that's okay to do in the workplace. Doesn't everyone have to take sexual harassment training these days, anyway? A female coworker, I tell her if she was male, she would have been fired multiple times for her behavior. She just laughs and says, "You're probably." That's terrible. Sometimes I think people legitimately don't realize their behavior is unacceptable, but the fact that she's been given the opportunity to apologize and just admitted her behavior was wrong and not take it seriously is terrible. Not really low grade, but when I used to work as a lifeguard on the beach there was lots of non-consensual touching. The two that really stick out are the middle-aged woman who walked up to me like she had a question, then got a hold of my dick through my trunks because she wanted to see how big it was, and the 16-year-old girl who backed me into my stand and shoved the skittle into my mouth with her tongue. Surprised you never got Wendy peppercorned. In 20 years of lifeguarding, rescuing someone only ever got me laid once. Please do elaborate. Offshore wind blew her and her friend out to sea about 200 to 300 yards in an inflatable raft, and I went and fetched them. Later we make sex. Ah yes, this is the high-quality storytelling I come to Reddit for. +1. Edit, I guess a lot of other people like this stuff too. This kind of story is the only ones I assume are true. There I was, tearing off my robe and wizard hat, when suddenly... Jesus, that's horrid. My 55-year-old coworker somewhat resembles Ursula from The Little Mermaid. That hasn't stopped her from asking me if I think she's pretty, asking me to take her home, and telling me she sprays like a watering can. Yes, really. Edit, I should add that I'm 21, which I think makes it a lot weirder. I spray like a watering can, yeah, and you effing look like one too. What is she going to do? Tell HR? Good luck to her explaining that original comment. Ironic how this post is labeled NSFW, but most of these take place at work. Because sexual harassment is not safe for work. I recently became a father and was working on a hit TV series. A female producer who is best friends with the executive in charge thought it would be funny to grab my stomach and say, "Working on your dad bod already?" My daughter at that point was 1 week old. If I grabbed a woman's stomach and said she was fat or pregnant, I would have been fired. Well, I complained to make a point. She recently was promoted and I wasn't invited back after 5 seasons. Oh, I sent the line-produced screen grabs of her apology and was told they'd look into it. This was over a year ago, and since she was promoted, I work plenty, but it's a gross business. A woman just straight up grabbed my dick whilst I was working at a festival. My friend who knew her told me not to make scene, as she was upper management. I still would've. Screw it. I'm so effing bothered by how literally every answer is either someone grabbed my dick or someone slapped my ass. Gross. This isn't low-grade sexual harassment, this is sexual assault. All of it. Almost every response here is sexual assault. Try dressing in traditional Scottish kilt in a city without some woman lifting it to see if you have underwear on. We all think it's funny until a guy does it to a woman. Was going to say the same thing. You'd think wearing a kilt was a bloody invitation. Some middle-aged guest did this when I was a kid at a wedding. I was 12. Thinking back on that, it's effing disgusting. Jesus. This was an adult doing that. I could see a kid being a jerk and doing it just to be a butthole. But an adult? Jesus. Both are horrible, but adult much more so. I've had my arms groped, dick groped, and ass groped before. It's not as flattering or hot as you might think it is when you're not expecting it / in the mood. It just kind of creeps you out. I've also had a woman just grab me and plant a full-on open mouth kiss straight on me, then act offended when I pulled away and basically ran from her. Never seen or talked to her before that moment. Just last night my friend and I were laughing and reminiscing about the time he got kissed and grinded by this really weird drunk lady at a bar during the before time stop. Then the mood got somber and we acknowledged he was sexually assaulted, and it was still really effed up even though he wasn't traumatized by it. Exactly. It's nice when you're so does it, but when strangers do it, it's uncomfortable as hell. Which you'd think would be obvious, right? I have been referred to HR for my voice being naturally too low. I was told I need to try and do more to be inclusive at the chat with HR about it. Lamau, you're different, be more inclusive. We're singling you out for being different, try to be more inclusive. Nah, reverse that crap on them and start saying how F they are if corporate ever finds out that you're being discriminated against for a natural feature of your body. I feel like I'm being singled out in the workplace. These are magic words to HR. It's just the nice way of saying you're about to be sued for running a hostile work environment. What in the actual F? Yeah, sorry, I feel offended that you don't speak in a falsetto. This happened to me too in my first job out of college. It was a home health company that was 97% women. I had to cover for the receptionist during her lunch break and would have to deal with nurses calling in all the time. I would get comments as soon as I answered the phone. They have a man answering the phone now, or this is home health, right? Where's Linda? Also had several complaints too. I had my manager ask me to not use such a low and intimidating voice and try and sound more happy. This was an HR position and I was given the equivalent of perk up buttercup. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. You were reprimanded for having too low of a voice, and were told to speak in a higher register to be more inclusive? I don't. No one actually said speak in a higher register. It was more of a this is a problem for some people, you should consider trying to make the work environment more inviting, like change my voice? I didn't say that, but just think about how the way you present yourself impacts others. I would have Mickey Moused until someone complained to HR again. You're a effing vagina, Susan, you stupid effing bitch, ho ho. I was also going to mention the man boob comment. But used to be all the time drunk women or men would run their fingers through my beard and have some sly comment like, I wonder if this tickles. I used to have some pretty decent moves. When some guys would get really drunk, they would bean dip me and touch/flick under my moob, which started to get embarrassing. I'm around 6 feet 7 inches, but I'm super nice. So people think that they can get away with it. So I decided that when a guy puts his hand on me or fix my moves or whatever, I take that as an invitation to put my very large hands on them. Now when there is a moob flick or anything like that, I go ahead and exclaim, "Oh hell yeah." And I excitedly and semi-aggressively grab their chest with both of my large hands. Nobody flicks my moves anymore. Had a female work colleague sit on my lap during my lunch break asking for help, batting her eyelids. Now I wonder what would happen if I would have sat on her lap. This happened to a guy at my work. He's 50 years old, married with 3 kids. We were having Friday drinks after work, at work. Liquor retailer, the girl was about 23 and very cute. She decided to sit in his lap, in front of everyone. He got up very quickly and left. His wife sometimes worked for us, and so did his sons. He did not invite this attention. She thought it was funny. Wow. Can you imagine making someone so uncomfortable that they felt the need to immediately leave, and then thinking it was funny? This thread really makes me feel for men. It effing sucks that this is so widespread and accepted. My hope for the next decade is that everyone has the right to decide how and when they are touched by anyone, for any reason. I was in the store and an old woman on a mobility scooter wanted to pass me, so I stepped to the side against the shelf. Instead of using all the free space on the other side, she starts turning closer to me as she passes, so my dick rubs all across her shoulder. She did a weird moaning sound at the same time. I posted about this on Facebook at the time and almost everyone thought it was hilarious. That is beyond creepy. Yeah, F my shoulder, Sonny. She doesn't have to even moan though, the F. Yuck. That made me feel disgusting just reading it. That is creepy and disturbing as F, but the mental image did make me crack up a bit. To be fair, it's because it's so absurd. I think a slow-motion close-up shot would fit into a raunchy comedy movie. Haha, yeah, I wanted to laugh as well after it happened until I realized I had been assaulted basically. I guess as a guy you're not used to thinking that way. I've been harassed and assaulted before. It always creeps me out afterwards, but usually never in the moment, as I was brought up basically, thinking women can't do that. I do realize how messed up the experience you had is. It's just the mental image visualizing that is so disturbing that it's surreal. 32 male with athletic build. At every job I've had, co-workers and customers have always openly grabbed my arms, smacked/squeezed my butt, and made comments about my appearance that would get me fired if I said them to women. My husband is a server at a high-end restaurant. I know restaurants are restaurants everywhere when it comes to staff. I've worked in plenty. But he's told me that he get harassed pretty much every day. Either hit on pretty openly by customers despite the wedding ring, or grabbed/groped/commented on by his coworkers. I'm so sorry you've gone through that. It's absolutely not fair. I hope it ends for you, because I know even if you said something firm and simple like no or don't touch me, it's already been done, and nothing really changes. I've never in my life understood how people just touch strangers in any way, let alone smack their ass too? Nope. I'm so sorry you have had to deal with that. Right? I can't figure this out either. I'm not a man, was lurking to see answers because I feel like this is an underappreciated issue for men, but strangers touching me was the worst when I was pregnant. Like who the F walks up to someone they don't know and rubs their belly? Often without even saying anything. I just don't get it at all. People don't understand personal space anymore. I've told my girlfriend that when we have a baby together, I'm going to start touching the belly of any stranger who touches her belly. Please do this. While maintaining uncomfortable eye contact and saying absolutely nothing. Until they back away because they realize how absolutely asinine their behavior is. LMFAO. My wife did this. Eye contact and all. The idiot got the message. I really wish I could have been a witness to that. Oh. You better rub it. Nice and slow like you mean it. I want to know how their stupid, inconsiderate, and lacking personal space self behaves. Older dudes always assume I want to talk about sex. I was in a golf league with my dad's buddies and they always asked me about my sex life and made jokes that the beer cart girl wanted me. One time one of the guys pulled out his phone and went on his granddaughter's Facebook and tried to get me to say she was sexy. I'm sorry, he was trying to get you to sexualize his own granddaughter? WTF, man. I have had many old people try to get me to date their grandsons, but they never try to get me to say if they're sexy. This is likely a particularly creepy double standard. My dad's mobile mechanic came over and he wouldn't stop talking about loving pussy. I can't get enough of pussy. Do you love pussy? Luckily, I didn't need to respond since he showed me a pic of his girlfriend and I commented, she's nice. He went on about just how nice her pussy was. Worst oil change of my life. As a child, I was touched/fondled regularly by the female teacher and elder students. When I complained to the head teacher, she said that I should enjoy it because I'm male. I was 12, any bystander would just assume I was the one harassing women sometimes 10 to 20 years older than me because I would bite in defense. Schools was hell. In 2nd grade, I was friends with this popular boy in our class. Every day at recess, all the girls would literally chase him around the playground. I never got into that because A, he's my friend, B, that's weird, C, I am not going to waste my recess time running there's gym class for that. One time I sat next to him on the bench and he was like breathing heavily and I think crying a bit. I felt so bad about his situation. I urged him to tell the teacher. He told me that the teacher said to enjoy the attention. So messed up. Kid couldn't enjoy his recess time. He was getting harassed. And our teacher tells him to enjoy it? He cried so hard when I had to move away. I still think about him from time to time. Peter, I hope you're doing all right, man. Wow, talk about a repressed memory coming back all at once. This happened to me. I completely blocked it out until I read your comment. In my case though, one of the teachers actually did step in and tell them to stop, but pretty much every other teacher didn't see any problem with it. I'm not sure if much has changed since, but one can hope. My wife and I have a simple solution when people brush these kinds of things off. Reverse the genders and tell me it's still okay. 25-year-old attractive female teacher in a relationship with a 15-year-old boy is okay. Let's swap those genders. Creepy and weird, now, right? Newsflash, always has been, woman, rocket, gun, woman, rocket. This is a crime. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.